Okay, so welcome to our TPC podcast. This time in English. Tokrat se bomo pogovarjali v angleškem jeziku, ker imamo mednarodne umetnike. I just said that this time we're going to talk in English because we have like international artists. It's such a great pleasure to have you here, to have you at our festival. This year is only the 4th edition of the festival, and of course we want to continue. The festival, as you already know, we include all aspects of robotics. It's like robotics and art, of course, very important. And then we have industrial robotics. Previous years we had also rehabilitation robotics. Yeah, all kinds of robotics acts. But this year we give a little bit more attention also to humanoid robotics, as you will see. Okay, but now let's focus on you, artists. So I'm also looking forward for your answers, because it's also interesting for me, because you are coming from such a different places. So Kanno, very renowned artist, international artist from Japan. Mónica Rikić, very renowned and famous female artist. This is also we need in robotics from Spain. And Barbara Jazbec from Slovenia, a young robotics artist who is kind of establishing herself yet. But she has also experiences in Japan. She used to do the exchange program in Japan, and I guess that there you were inspired in robotics art.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with you, Mónica. So what first attracted you to start working with robots as an artistic medium?
Well, I think because I was very bad doing things inside the screen. So that was the first time I went into electronics. And they like it, yeah. Well, I always liked computers, but I really like computers, but I never thought that I could do art with them, because in Spain back in 2006 it wasn't that normal, and so I started like in a very early age building computers with my cousin, you know. So that's when I started like seeing all the boards and all the electronics and stuff. But for me it was like a very separate stuff, because I was obsessed with doing things inside the screen. And then I accepted my my useless way of doing things inside the computer, and I started working with physical things, and that's when I started being interested in how to create animated things with physical stuff. And that's how I got to robotics.
And I also like very much your approach. I like this do-it-yourself robotics. Okay. Yeah, and same question for you, So?
For me, I think like there was like big movement of doing like interactive things, and like physical computing was a like kind of important term in 20 years ago. And then I was making some of interactive projects. And then, I don't know, like sometimes like interactive things, if it's really interactive, like if the result is like pretty different from the each audience who experience, but like a lot of time it also behave like kind of switch and doing like react similar way. And then at some point I realized, okay, so when things are communicating and start to happening somewhere there, not human interaction, like interaction between things, I found more possibility there. And then like when things are interacting out of a screen, that's a robotics. So that was my path. Then after that, like I just like purely interested, okay, so this is related to robotics and robot interacting with each other. So like my project, a lot of them are swarm robot or many robot there. So there is way to interact with them by human, but like it's not the main interaction. The most of the interaction happening between robots. So that's how I kind of entered robotic art things.
Okay. And you, Barbara?
Yeah, for me it started because I was very interested in toys, like especially like Furby toys, growing up with the Furby, and now like these tiny robot toys, and I was very interested in the mechanism to open the toys, and I also very much work with recycling because I feel like also there's a big problem today with the e-waste and technological waste, so all my projects are based on recycling toys, so this was my main idea and concept behind it, that I was very interesting when you open the toy, what kind of sensors and mechanism you find inside, and you can reuse them and build a new interface out of them. So this was kind of my key start into the robotics, and then I went to Japan on exchange, and I was very curious what kind of toys, these smart toys, can you find in Japan, and this was my key research.
Yes, and if we go back, was also affecting where you are born, from which country you are, that you are actually doing this kind of art now? Maybe for you, So Kanno? Yeah.
So like when I moved to Germany and like doing exhibition in Europe, everyone says like the relation with like Japanese and robot, like that's of course now I'm aware of, but like in the beginning I was actually not really aware of this thing. But like when you doing a robot project and how people project themselves or like some social aspect or something. It is certainly different, and yeah, definitely. Like we're grown up with Doraemon or Astro Boy, those robot as friend. It's definitely different from robot as enemy or this kind of like idea. So it's fundamentally different, and we have some space for like exploring like robot as something close or like more closely relatable thing. Yeah, like Aibo is from Japan, and like Tamagotchi, like yeah, that's kind of obvious. But like also in the same time, like those products are not only popular in Japan. Like first it got popular in Japan, and then like also spread. And yeah, there's a lot of fan community of Tamagotchi or other like robot pet projects.
And for you, Barbara, how did Slovenia did any effect?
I guess we're all growing up. We were both, I guess, inspired also the movies we watch, because many people, like when I was growing up, my favorite movie was Gremlins, and then the association, I guess, with the Furbies. A lot of people see in a Furby a gremlin, and the whole movie in the 80s was made with these mechatronics and stuff. I think this kind of stuck with me. And growing up, yeah, we were mostly outside, so I was not really growing up within technology. But now this shift came because I feel like all this stuff that I saw in the movies, also Star Wars, they're building robots from scrap. It's like now really more happening this, and I like also to implement this kind of dystopian future also in my artwork, so the robots look kind of maybe half broken or not finished, but I kind of like this aesthetic that you see also the cables out. So I think yeah, movies had a big effect, because growing up in nature, it's completely different now compared to what I do.
So, and for you, Mónica?
Well, for me, I think all my artistic practice has been a thing of chance encounters, you know, so as I was saying, you know, I started helping my cousin to build computers, and then and talking about my context in Barcelona in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, yeah, early 2000s, there was a big open source and open hardware movement. So I think that's where my interest in electronics came more. You know, we like to build things. You know, there was a lot of, as I say, like open source. There was a lot of cyber feminism. There were a lot of hacker spaces, and that's where you started like DIY and building stuff. And from there, because I always like to work with objects, that's when I started trying to explain stories through objects. Right, so all this idea of an object performing something is for me what it's a field of possibilities, and also is something that we can call a robot somehow, you know. But I'm also interested in robots shapeless robots, which I think it also attends to the cyberfeminism and queer studies background of being open to that, of a technology as an open space where anything can take any shape or anything can happen. So for me, this is how I feel robotics, and yeah, that's how I got into it, I guess, from my context.
Yeah. In Slovenia, we don't have like a culture of robotics, only the functional robotics. We are very well at industrial robots, but I guess that comes from the German mind, all technology that we build has to have some functionality, but I guess now for the last years things are changing, like also we do a lot of courses at schools now, it's like Lego robotics or do-it-yourself robotics that you can also see at the festival. And also my journey was, I wanted to work with really sophisticated robots. That's why I went to Japan, with Ishiguro sensei robots. And now with robot dogs, and we see a lot of these Chinese humanoid robots. But more I work with them, more I prefer do-it-yourself robots now. Really, I think this switch came to me, now that I see, like your works, it makes more impression on me, I have to say. Or maybe even if you work with robots, how stubborn, how it is, and then I'm even more impressed that you build something by yourself and that kind of obeys you. Yeah, and so another question for you would be: do you see robots in your work more as tool collaborators or independent agents? So maybe now we can start with you, Barbara.
I would say both, because in my especially practice, I take apart already existing robot, so to call, a toy, and I see its possibility, what can it do, and then after a bit experimenting and maybe hacking and seeing what it can do on its own, then I modify it, add my own components and stuff, and then I let it be. Then I consider it first that we collaborate as a tool, but then when the work is kind of finished, I let the work or the robot do what it does in the space. So then it depends a lot how people interact with it. And then I feel like it lives on its own based on the participants' interaction. And I also find a big difference if I put my artwork in the gallery or if I just put it outside. You see a big contrast, because I feel like when it's placed in the gallery, it's immediately, it's a robot, it's an artwork. But when I put, for example, my robot dog outside in the field, then it didn't become an artwork. It felt more like people more question, what is this? It's like, is it living on its own? It's like more, I feel like a different question when my artwork is outside or in a gallery. I hope I went a bit different direction with the question.
And with you, Mónica, do you see them the collaborators, agents, or tools?
Well, I think that there's some things that Barbara just said that I relate to, but I prefer to use a different metaphor for describing how I feel about my robots. For me, they are stories. They are theatrical devices that perform, as I was saying before, they perform some ideas, and they are also, because I come from an experimental games background, I also like to think about them of open frameworks, not the software, but an open framework of a stage of staging of something or some kind of story that I really want to explain as part of my spirit, in the sense of Yuku's philosophy, as understanding technology as part of the human spirit, as part of something that we want to explain. Sorry, it fell. And and I'm going to, sorry, the microphone fell. So I also like this click that you're saying with the space, depend on where you put it in the space, and depend on how is the conceptual interaction with the public. Obviously they become something else. But yeah, I like, they're open. I don't feel them as having agency, because everything that they do, I mean, of course they move, but all the agency they have is what the philosophical and cultural association or attribution that we make with them. So for me, everything is a mirror that we do through them. So and they are just performing and doing you know something, and of course there's levels of autonomy that they have, or levels of I really like working with emerging behaviors and things like that, but I try to keep them super simple in the terms of behavior.
Okay, and for you?
For me, like it's a combination of those. First, ideally, I want my robot to have like independent agency, but this is very difficult. Like if you make everything from scratch, you know everything, like you know the limitation, and like they only do what I or some programmer programmed. So it's in the process, like you need to accept like what would happen and what cannot be happen, but like I try to be how do I say aware of some problem in a positive way as possible. For example, the reason that I put the fluffy hair is actually not only cute. They are communicating with laser, and the light sensor is so small, and then you need to have some light diffuser. And then I tried some other materials, and then like this fluffy hair actually works as a light diffuser. So that's the reason. And also, I found that like when they're not moving well, the audience actually doesn't aware of they're actually not functioning well. Like that's only me, and they say like, okay, they're getting together or they're in a good mood or something, and this is wrong. But like technically, this is wrong. But like, it's not wrong. It's an interesting interpretation, and I take that as like possibility. So. In a way, I'm trying to make individual agent as possible, but like it's impossible. But like things happen when you have an exhibition and like point of view from other people, and that actually little by little growing installation itself. Because like one of the reason that I'm doing this workshop, like I made swarm of robot as one swarm, so there's no individual. I don't name them. There's just number. I mean, like there's IP address and stuff, but like there's no individual. But like once you have this workshop to personalize them, you have a different layer to observe. So like the kids today, like they didn't spend much time for the first look, and then they came back and they did personalize the robot. And after we put the robots back to the swarm, they were really following their own robot, like how they react with others, and also like other friends doing so. Like it's totally giving different aspect, and I don't know, like somehow that's how I try to integrate like collaborator or independent agency, like mixture. But like I need to be aware of like how people observing and how does they feel, and like it's usually different from developer. So I need to have this audience feedback to make things more interesting.
Okay, thank you. And when you start a new robotic artwork, what usually comes first, the concept, the technology, or the behavior of the machine that you're going to use?
That's a good question. It depends. Like for Razormice project, like I wanted to make swarm robot. That was first concept. So then I was seeking possibility with the software simulation first. But like it depends. Like the one of the project that I was also interested in, I made a little kind of like film about what if Roomba is stray robot kind of thing. So that was actually similar to your idea, Barbara. So they look totally different depending on the place. Because like industrial robots only functioning in the factory, and it's not like that anymore. Like autonomous car or this delivery robots, like people are filming those on the street, and that's totally different. And if I want to take that as theme and then like start from different point, but somehow I'm interested in like how people see robots in the society and project how differently with their own context or condition. So yeah, it depends. But like something related to robot, I'm interested in the context.
Okay. For you, Mónica?
For me, it's usually it's the concept. So it wasn't like that before. So I also like to see how like all artist practices as mutable, so they keep changing. So I don't like to. I like to think like now I'm interested in this, but then it will take me somewhere else. I like to be open. But one thing that has been constant for a very long time now, it's the concept first, and then developing the device. But I also feel that making things, you get concepts, because by relating yourself to the building of the technologies in general, you create, no, right? Like you create a mindset and a way of thinking which also influences the concept. So it's a mixture of things. But also now and then I also allow myself to just do some kinetic experimentations and stuff like that are just like just for fun. That where I think there are processes that you also learn from them. But yeah, usually I have like something to explain and then try to a way of materializing it through technology.
Okay.
Yeah, for me it was kind of a mix between the tool and the concept, because with this specific project, Eerie Me, the idea came just from the tool, from the Furby toys, and then the concept came together with it after, because I was also curious about this obsession of us humans that we want to live forever. So I wanted to put kind of also to behave myself selfish, and I wanted to put a part of me in this robot, and then it also came like conceptual like that in the future not everyone will be rich. So you will have to build your own forever robot from the materials you have. So this came kind of this critical idea, okay, I have these Furby toys and they have these sensors inside, and what can I do with them? What can I do with the technology that I have around that people consider as waste? So I was opening up also all devices and adding it to these creatures that I was creating. So it was kind of the tool and the concept. Very important for me to start. But I also like to play a lot and discover what can be done with these tools that we have today.
Yeah, as I observe, I think it's quite challenging for us artists, when we use the robots, that the robots are not just the tools there, that are something more, That's quite challenging, I think. And what is the most challenging part of combining engineering and artistic thinking in your robotics works?
Well, I would like to say also to what you're saying, like for me a robot is never independent, so it's never a tool. Any piece of technology, and especially nowadays, it's just never the tool. I think it's they become like things that have a specific impact on in many different levels. So understanding them as a network of interrelations of things, I think it's a nice framework to think about them, and then connecting that to your question. The most difficult thing for me is and especially now that robotics are more in the mainstream side, is just engineers. Like engineers is like I don't know, and I keep saying that as a critique for the technology and arts like background, and so like we keep going to these festivals and keep thinking that everybody understands that art is so important for technology, blah blah blah, and then that's not true. It's like well, we all know that we just move around as society in little circles, and we believe that some things are never going to happen, and they happen, and for example, if you're with a specific group of people that we do art, science, and technology, you think like everybody's understood, then you get out of there, and you still keep being asked like, oh, you do art, and you do art with technology. Ooh, how special! Are you an engineer? So I think that still like breaking these boundaries of the understanding that you don't need to be an engineer to make art, robots or robots in general. Like there's no like breaking these boundaries between disciplines, and maybe the new advances in the access of technology and the creation of technology, maybe they would bring that the same way Arduino brought the hierarchization of building electronics. Back in the day, may happen. it's for me it's the hardest because I just don't want to explain what I do, anymore. I just want to do things, and I also want to be critical with, and I've been there, and I'm trying not to do that without questioning the impact of technology in society. Like artists, it's like just move forward and just do stuff, don't be ashamed. And also, for example, in my contest, it's like. There's even the difference between artists that work in technology and artists that work with more traditional ways of making art. So it's all the time, trying to explain yourself with engineers, all the time trying to explain yourself with artists of traditional art. So for me, the over-explaining of what I'm doing, I just want to make things, I want to make art and I do things and that's it, So I want to explain, I want to justify what I do or not I do. Yeah.
So the most challenging is explaining.
Explaining. Explaining is always. My parents have learned, to love me. Now I want society.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. For me, engineering, just engineering, just endless finding problem and solution. There's limited time and budget, but you need to make somehow artwork present works for some month sometime. If it's shorter, 3-4 days is good, but sometime it needs to work really long time. And the maintenance and stuff. So engineering never ends. And but at some point you said you need to limit. Also, you can spend all the time for engineering. It's fun. It's problem never ends as long as you have time and money, but you also need to think about other things and concepts and everything. So the balancing is sometimes difficult. I mean, if I'm doing everything by myself, I have control, and I think I'm not bad at balancing these things. But if you work with collaboration, some collaborators sometimes more into engineering, and then you need to stop them. Okay, stop developing. It's you don't sleep till the opening or something, but there's something more important to think about or something. So it's balancing is important sometimes. But I think I'm not bad at balancing, and I'm not the horrible engineer. I'm not the best engineer too, but. Things works. Yeah, that's important. Yes. The things you can't say something sometime as artists if it's not completely working. So it's important to make things work, and
Some engineers don't get things working either. Yes. It's not only an artist thing that things don't work, That really helped me understanding that,
and sometimes when I go to see these fairs, also more technical or with industrial robots, most things are not working. And I say, when you come to the art festival, things work.
You need
and
to
we are always attacked if things
Yeah.
doesn't work, but we do, that things works. Also with me it's challenging. I work a lot with engineers to help me, and I do something and it works, and then they go, but this is not the way how should be done. This is not the engineering way. But I say, it works. That's for me important.
Exactly.
Tendency of choice of technology. If you're first engineer, then of course you want to use something cutting edge, and then these new technology hard to deal with sometimes. You need libraries different, or processor is slow. But old one you choose, then it's about stepping motor, brushless motor, DC motor, this kind of thing. DC motor sometimes breaks, but it works stably for some time. And those choices in the beginning you need to make.
Yes, and I think for us it's very challenging. For example, we all have experience, for example, exhibiting at big festivals when a lot of people is coming, a lot of people is interacting with your artwork, like Ars Electronica, for example. There can be 1,000 people per day, but your system has to work. For me this is challenging then, because, especially when we are talking about do-it-yourself robotics, not the if we use the industrial arm, this has to work. This is no. But when you do something by yourself, that's that can be tricky. And that's why I think we really deserve respect. For me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts from like which
Yeah.
tool you choose, which
Yeah.
material you choose.
Yeah. You wanted to add something, Barbara?
No, I agree completely with both. And it just you just have to sometimes, if things don't go as they plan, you just experiment, and it is what it
Exactly.
is. It's like no yes or no.
Exactly.
And do
Everything
not
is
panic,
correct.
yes,
Yeah, no
and
panic, and
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
experiment. Like
Yeah.
and then the more you exhibit, also the more relaxed you get.
I usually have a panic mode
Yeah.
stage for my works. So I always already when it's going to be exhibited for a very long time or for some time, whatever, they always have a panic mode. So they work somehow. Something.
Yeah.
If they break, if they break, even if it's like, oh, they look beautiful without moving, then yeah. Even that, like it can be one of the stages. But I also try to already have a strategy where if some level of the programming or something doesn't work as expected, they keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
Until it gets the point where you do the real maintenance.
Yeah, and you just let for example, my artwork, I just let, if something happens, I don't explain people that something goes wrong. It's just because they don't know that it's wrong, as so I said. You just let it be, and it behave as it behaves, because people don't know. When you come there and start to explain, oh no, this one should be doing that and that, then they more start to question you. Are they sure what they're doing? So you just say, well, it is a robot, it has its own life,
exactly.
it does what it wants
Yeah,
to do.
that's very interesting point because so when I'm doing like laser mask projects from robot, and then I'm the artist and also the engineer, so I know what is happening, and like also like it fails, and that's fine. That's how they are. But like when you work as engineer in a different project, and there's instrument that I maintain, like that's not my invention. I do maintenance and like made an interface, and we invite the composer to play. And composer want to play perfectly, of course.
Yeah.
And then on the stage, I was very, very nervous. Like, okay, this is something different. Like the mistake will not take as like artistic experience. Okay, this is something different. So, this was very interesting experience.
Yeah, for me, I was always very nervous when we had our robots on stage, and they were like moderating the events and such things, and you don't have a plan B, And we had also politicians in the audience, and I was like, oh, why did I say yes to do this?
I remember once for Mobile World Congress, they were recording this on TV, like this robot, the industrial robot, and it was live on TV, and it was like, the robot suddenly poop and falls from something like this, and I was like, oh my god, things happen. People tend to think technology is perfect.
Yeah,
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know, but like when you're in a party and like used to DJ doing vinyl, and when they get out of pitch. The audience was actually like, whoo!
Yeah,
so
like
there's a point to be, yeah. So like, as long as human is acting, like failure, it's something audience accept. But once it's technology, like okay, something wrong. This is not going well. I don't know. This is very interesting difference. And like I think like I observed when something failed with the robot, like we enjoy it. So it's a little bit different from the other people.
Yeah. And what kind of robotic artwork do you dream of creating, but technology still is not here or doesn't allow it yet? When you are working on
good question, but like I also want to play with the limitation. So I don't know, like on the process of trying to realize and like finding like limitation, and then that's somehow like inspiring a lot of time. So this question is kind of a little bit difficult for me because let me think a little bit more. If you have any answer.
I don't know. Like that, I think the difficult part of the question is that technology is not ready. Like I don't know. I feel a little bit more like you in this sense that working where finding new ways of interact with things that are already there, and also I work with very simple technologies usually, I think, well, I'm super enthusiastic with 3D printers as a tool for creating my things. So maybe it's not building, but it's different tools for building. So I would love to be able to have in my studio like a lot of tools for building, for imagining new things with new materials. So I think that would be kind of like my answer, like a real TPU that really works, like super flexible and easy to print, that it can be transparent, for example, or a printer that could print metal, you know, or a easy laser cut that I could have at home and it wouldn't have any like fumes that wouldn't make it easier, you know. So I can think more about regarding the second part of the question, that technology is not there yet, about accessible tools that I could have in order to create different things, to imagine new things of technology.
I got an answer. Energy problem.
Yeah.
So if there is a limitless working battery without harming any environmental thing, that would be amazing. I mean, like probably someone gonna invent like some very harmful, like battery works forever or something. Then it's a question, would you use or not? But like if it's safe and if it's functioning well, yeah, there's a lot of possibility to do something outside, because like a lot of time, like you wanted to have a sensor node somewhere. That's usually the problem is, yeah, of course, like you can put solar and charging system, but like if there is like it is not possible in a dark place in this condition. So yeah, if this energy problem have a solution, and then there's a lot of possibility to do things outside.
Yeah, I don't have yet a concrete answer, but I was just more thinking in a sense where the toy industry will go, because I was also thinking what will be the next generation of toys for kids that will come in the next 20 years. Because I feel like this kind of robotics things have been now here for the last 30 years, and I'm curious what will be the next toy trend that it's not maybe yet invented, and grab that opportunity to have it as the next artistic material. So I don't have a concrete answer, but I'm curious what the future in this sense will bring.
Yes, I'm also very curious what kind of a relationship we will develop with now these robots that are coming, you know. Now really, humanoid robots are coming, you know. It's not a question anymore. And they are getting available, you know. So I'm really curious what kind of future this is going to bring. And I think that we, robotic artists, we are already kind of preparing people for this, you know. These times that are coming. So my next question would be also, because you each has like their own approach to robotics art. I mean the story that is behind. So what is the story that you want to convey with your robotic projects? Because I see that yours is mostly the latest work. It's like assistive robotics.
Yeah, well, it's an assistive device. It's an assistive device because the context of the starting of the research was that I got very interested in that, and also about assistive devices. I've been working also with friends that are wheelchair users, and I got very interested in this part of how we're merging technology with bodies in a practical way, and not in a futuristic way, because we keep thinking about robots and stuff like things of the future, but they're not, you know, although they are not humanoid, and that's the idea we have of a robot. So for me, it's as I said before, like understanding that technology is not neutral anymore, and the developments that we have. For example, now you talk about when I see these humanoid robots that are coming, like Neo, like the one we have here. For me, what I see when I see videos on Instagram about the robot, I think about how, in my perspective, and I don't want to criticize anyone, but I see a lot of approaches that reach levels of colonialism and slavery, you know. It's like we're using them to do, as puppets to do things, and I think that for me has a lot of red flags of how you're using them, you know. So I think that understanding that what we do and the performances that we do with these tools, and especially for a Western perspective, which we have a not very nice background around these topics, you know, and especially in this moment where all this chaos is going on around, is that we need to really think about how we create and who is creating these things, and that's what my projects try to express, right? It's like more and more generations are afraid of technologies. Why are they afraid of technologies, and why, for me, as I was saying at the starting of this podcast, like why for me they were like spaces, open spaces for building stuff, you know. So I think that maker practices, DIY, and opening things and breaking things and not being perfect and all these things are, and especially seeing technology as not only productive but also creative, you know. And I think the arts has a very big role to play here. It's what, you know, can help us confront the different challenges that we're going to have from now, you know, which I think are not going to be easy in ecological way, social way, and society control, let's say that way.
And with your work, So Kanno?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Yeah, when my robot is small, so like swarming them, seeing them, like not really scary, but like once it's getting bigger, like swarm of robots start to be observed like a little bit like more dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, this, and then like, yeah, I don't know, like the World War III is happening or whatever. This direction, yeah, like technology has like both end, like it's good and bad, and used for some time, but like it could be dangerous, and but like.
Because when I see your artwork, I'm always thinking about, you know, how the robots, the AI will communicate with each other. Of course, it's going to be different, like we do. So in your works, I always see, especially in laser mice, you know.
Yeah, that looks like war too, like the Star Wars kind of. Cis and the Jedi. Yeah, color as well, like green and red, yes, definitely. And like the numbers changing, so it's also political.
Good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to think about this, and also, but like. Yeah, as long as things are in a black box and you don't understand, then like logically, like, okay, technology, sorry, I don't get it, I don't want to touch or something. But like there will be better way to understand technology with our approach, I think. So if it could help, like, yeah, that's probably the way we should work.
Yeah, for me, the big part of this research that I was doing with IRIME was also to rethink about sustainability. Also, like opening devices and learning how they're built, like especially in toys, what is inside. There's a battery, there's the servo motor, there's the cables. So for me, it was also this importance to reuse the stuff that I can find around and build a new interface or robot out of it. So I found also a big part of the research that was very important for me, that I did also 2 workshops with children here in Tehno Park that we learned together. We opened, they brought their own used toys and we opened them, and then we had a discussion with the new generations that they know, because a lot of them, they don't know where does the battery come from. They don't know how many minerals and stuff needs to be mined to produce this kind of toys. So I like also this aspect of like opening stuff and researching and also educating the new generations that are coming, that they know that, oh, the phone doesn't just come from the shop, it comes from very big resources, and that we highlight also the ways that we produce with also technology and also email sending. And I found this also very important in my research, that we talk also with the new generation how things are built, and to not be scared to open something and be curious. And also, sadly, a lot of devices today are also built like a black box that you cannot fix it on your own anymore. you have to bring it to the shop, or they're just made that you replace it and buy new, can't open anymore and fix. So yeah.
Yeah, but some device, like if you open, like if you go open further, it's out of the guarantee. Yeah. This is like ownership thing.
Yeah.
Like when the company is selling things and still owning it, and that's not really okay. And also like they're also owning data.
Yeah.
Like this is so all over. Like you're just borrowing the device, and all the data is belong to them, and you're paying.
Yeah.
This is crazy. You need to know like what is happening, and also the ownership is I think it's pretty important too. Like subscription things, like you're not owning things.
You should think what you subscribe to. I was also reading a lot, like don't want to highlight any company, but for example Spotify, a lot of people are subscribed and they don't know what they're investing every month paying to this subscription. And then if you do a bit of research, where does my money go? And then you see, they do AI and military training. Am I supporting that or no? It's questioning that.
I agree with that, but also there's a thing that I don't have Spotify, but I can use other stuff. But anyway, like I think there's been for a very long time a lot of pressure in the consumer, in the people, and I think that we have to also start focusing on the governments, And Europe has been quite good until now. Now
GDPR?
there's like what
GDPR.
Yeah, in general, it's like regulations will. Like users and consumers cannot be 100% responsible over everything, because you're like tight. You're trying to survive in a moment where everything, it's like super difficult. We don't have time. We have, so we can be somehow responsible of some part, but the real change is going to come from governments and regulations, And if we are going through a moment where the same people that are doing things that maybe we don't agree to are the ones that are entering the government, then we're coming into that dangerous area. But so I totally agree with what you were saying, but also, there's some points that it's like we can do things, but maybe we cannot do. So one, for example, important thing that we can do is voting and deciding from there where we're going.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution to the festival. Thank you much for taking time for this nice discussion. And you will find links of the artist projects, their website below. We will attach them. Okay.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you.